Hi, everybody. I am Dr. Jessie Sikander. I am an educator and founder of the Brain and Breakthrough and also co-founder of Action Parenting. And I wanted to hop on today and talk about navigating social situations with older kids in the middle of a pandemic and what that looks like. So obviously it's very different for each family, depending on where you live, what's going on in your state or your country, and also what you're comfortable with within your family. So kind of keep that in mind. But I wanted to give us 3 or 4 things to kind of think about as we navigate social situations with kids who are older in the midst of this crazy world we live in. So I think one of the first things is just to really realize that, you know, the goal of adolescents and older kids is to kind of give them more choices and more opportunities to grow in the world around them and make decisions. And so that means usually for older kids that they've got lots of touch points. So they have, you know, friends, and they have teachers, and they have school, and they have activities, and they may have a job. And right now a lot of that looks really different. And so for some kids, I think that they have really done well with that, and it hasn't been such a huge impact. And for others, it's been harder. I read an interesting article the other day that talked about for extroverts and introverts in the middle of a pandemic. And I've got one extroverted kiddo and one introverted kiddo. And it talks about how for extroverts, really the beginning of the pandemic was really hard because we were really, really shut down and stayed to our homes and very disconnected from a lot of people and daily interactions. And how a lot of introverts at that time kind of thrived, right? They were, home was great and it was a safe place. And how now it's kind of switched where as we start to interact back out into the world, extroverts are getting some of that connection again. And for introverts, the longer they've been at home has given them more time to kind of have their anxiety start to flare up and have them worry about more things as they enter out back into the world. And so I think it's an important thing to kind of look at your kiddo, especially as they're older, and have some of those conversations around, hey, how are you feeling? What's working for you? What's not working for you? Making sure we have built-in kind of conversations on a regular basis that are some really purposeful and sometimes not. And I think with older kids, especially when we're having those conversations, sometimes it's not always a direct face-to-face conversation. Sometimes it's, hey, I'm going to go bake a cake or go for a walk or play soccer, or I don't know, you want to play video games or a board game or whatever it is, and giving them an activity and then being able to check in about that anxiety and what it looks like for them as they're re-entering the world on whatever level that is. And for some of us, that's a lot, and for others, it's not as much. But I think making sure that we have that, those connection points and our checking in is important. You know, for some of our kiddos, entering back out into the world can be really anxiety provoking. They're wearing masks, they're super aware of the virus. And there's a fear of what if I get sick myself? What if I get somebody else sick? What if I don't follow the rules? And so I think sometimes with our older kids, just having those conversations ahead of time of, hey, we're going to such and such's house, or we're going to the park, and this is what it's going to look like, and I want to give you a heads up that this is where we're going and how long we're going to be there, and kind of our expectations as a family ahead of time. So they're prepared with that knowledge. Or hey, we are going to see such and such, and this is where their family's at right now. They want to be social distance, they want masks on, and we're going to stay outside. And so I think preparing their expectations as they move into those social situations are really important. And then just checking back in afterwards. Hey, how are you doing? Especially for our kids that are prone to anxiety. How much anxiety do you have? Where do you feel that? How can I help you with that? And kind of talking through those things. I think this is a great opportunity to teach our kids regulation, you know, especially if we have kids that are prone to anxiety in social situations. How do we help them regulate? So what does it look like? Teaching our kids, asking those questions. Where do you feel the anxiety in your body? What are you worried about? What are you sad about? What are you frustrated about? Where do you feel that? And then how do we help start calming our bodies down? And giving our kids the words and the tools, modeling that for them. Sometimes it's, I can give them all the tools in the world and they just need me to go do it with them. And so just figuring out some of those things that are going to help calm them down, no matter the social situation that they face, no matter kind of the feelings that are coming on in their life. I think I said to one of my kiddos the other day, my gosh, if I had been your age and known what regulation was, I would have been steps ahead in my life than where I am today. But I didn't know what it was like, what it meant to have lots of emotions, and I also didn't know what it meant how to handle those emotions effectively. So, you know, be aware of your kids' touch points, what they've lost. Have, you know, normal, everyday, often check-ins with them. Give them realistic expectations with the social situations that they're stepping into, and then help them stay connected as much as possible. And this looks so different for each kiddo, but that's, you know, maybe lightening up on screen time so they can have more of those conversations. That's putting something in the mail to a friend. That's sending off care packages. That's helping them plan things for the future that they're excited about. Just giving them those things that help them stay connected to the people that are closest to them. And then I think just as a whole, just saying to them, like, it's okay where you're at. Like, it's okay, you know, like it's okay if you're super disappointed because we didn't get to do the thing we were hoping to do with our friends today, or it's okay if you're super overwhelmed by the thought of going back to art class, even though you have a mask and you're gonna be 6 feet apart. But it's just continually having those conversations and checking in with them and giving them the tools to help them understand what's happening inside of them and the world around them. If you would like more tips and tricks, please feel free to go to actionparenting.org and download our free Parenting in a Pandemic course. We'd love to continue to support you in this process.